Liberty Nation. Truth is making a comeback.
Kanye West, Roseanne Barr, and the ever-growing list of brave American cultural icons and political renegades is our topic today on the Liberty Nation Roundtable. Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, and joining me today is my better half, our Washington political columnist Tim Donner, national columnist Sarah Cowgill, and political correspondent Graham Noble. Welcome, one and all.
Hey.
So the other night, hello, is everybody there?
We are.
Have we started drinking early? Let's see here. So the other night, Roseanne Barr went on Jimmy Fallon's late night show and said her piece about Donald Trump, saying, quote, "This is America. I don't give a blank," unquote. And of course, you'd have to live in a cave in Kandahar not to know what the left is saying about Kanye West. So let's begin with Sarah here. One does have to give them credit for being willing to stand up to such a monolithic atmosphere where only one political point of view is tolerated. What's your take on all this, Sarah? Will the leftist vitriol against Roseanne and Kanye backfire or serve to hush up any others who dare to speak out?
Oh, I think with Roseanne and Kanye, you've got two kind of larger than life celebrities in their own discipline. You've got, Kanye's music and you've got Roseanne's comedy, and they don't care what people think. Roseanne has never cared what anybody thinks. I don't know that much about Kanye West, but it's obvious that they're setting kind of a trend for other people that want to jump in there and go, you don't need to know who I voted for, and I can like Trump if I want to.
Yeah, that's a good point, Graham. There do seem to be more and more of the American cultural elite willing to go rogue here. I mean, we've got James Woods, Vince Vaughn, more of a libertarian, Dennis Miller, Tim Allen, Adam Sandler. Is the backlash against these people essentially good for the First Amendment, all in all, or not?
Well, I find the whole thing interesting. I mean, out of all of these famous people who are, should we say, coming out of a different closet,
Different kind of closet, yeah,
to express their views, or at least express their urge to see a more fair discourse going on in the country, because I almost think that's what Kanye West may be going for, is that it's not like he's completely swung to one particular side of the political spectrum. I think he's more about saying, hey, what's the problem with someone thinking in a different way? And I think as for all the rest of them, whether they were previously Democrats who have now turned conservative, or they're just becoming more vocal, I think the larger point here is that there is a trend that, everybody kind of likes to be cool to a certain extent, I guess, and it's always cool to be anti-establishment. And, whatever the powers that be are running the country, whatever way they think, it's always been cool to kind of rebel against that, smash the system and all this kind of stuff. And of course, bizarrely, now we have a president who you think he represents the establishment because he's president, but in fact he doesn't. He's a completely anti-establishment president. So it's like, flip the whole thing and nobody knows what's going on anymore. I mean, if you support the president, are you pro-establishment or are you anti-establishment? Nobody knows anymore. And I think people are just saying, hey, you know what? The boundaries have changed now. The borders have been erased. And I think more people are just saying, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if I'm pro-anti-establishment or anti-pro-establishment, but I'm just going to say what I think.
Tim, now you've actually had a close encounter with Clint Eastwood and know he's a conservative, but he seems to be the only one that can get away with his political leanings without being blacklisted. I mean, he's been making relatively conservative movies that are blockbusters for years, and there seems to be no pushback here from Hollywood. Why do you think Eastwood is given a pass and people like Kanye are not?
Well, Lisa, the reason that Clint Eastwood can get away with it, first of all, is because he's white. I mean, the fact that he's a Caucasian means to many on the left he would be expected, to be conservative or to be, down with the man, so to speak. But the one thing that all of these celebrities that you've listed have in common, whether it be Clint Eastwood or Kanye West or Dennis Miller, the thing they have in common is that they just don't care what people think. Perhaps because of their celebrity, because they're big enough that they can do it, or perhaps because like a guy like James Woods just doesn't care at all what other people think. Unlike so many celebrities who accidentally say something insensitive and then immediately apologize for it and say that they don't mean it, when in fact they probably did, which makes the fact that they said it and then apologized even worse. I think what we need more Kanye Wests. I mean, I think Kanye West by himself is not enough. Maybe we need a Me Too movement for people like Kanye West. How about something like hashtag off the reservation? Because that might lead others other than Kanye West and Candace Owens, who's now come to fame after being mentioned prominently by the president, would lead a movement. Maybe it wouldn't be akin to Me Too, but it does provide, I think, Kanye West, the permission concept for other blacks who aren't comfortable being on the Democratic plantation and feeling that they must vote Democrat or they're insufficiently black. I think it would give them permission to do it.
Already open forum here. Who's got something that's just burning to be said?
Well, first of all, I think, Tim, we're going to have to come up with a different hashtag from that, because people might confuse it with Elizabeth Warren's hashtag, which is
I was going to say the Native American population's not going to go for that, bro.
But Elizabeth Warren has shamefully been off the reservation for years.
Like all of her ancestors were as well.
Well, maybe we're going to title this "Four People Go Politically Incorrect." Go ahead, Graham, make your point.
No, but yeah, a lot of what Tim said is right. I think certain people, they've acquired a certain level of fame and following that they're willing to. And James Wood, I'm glad you mentioned James Wood, because James Woods is a man who has simply said, I'm going to say what I believe, and I really don't care what you think. I think some of these other people have decided that they've got to a certain level in their careers that they think, and I believe in the case of people like Kanye West, they're correct, is they believe that they are now have the right to consider themselves, if you like, opinion makers. And they can say, no, I'm big enough now. I don't need to worry about my career disappearing overnight. I can stand up and say these things. And I think it's great that they are able to do that. Obviously, some of the people who are maybe less secure in their career path as it is right now don't want to do that, because they know that they could just disappear overnight. But Kanye is as far as I know, in his genre is such a huge force that he can say what he likes, and his career, it's not going to destroy his career.
Go ahead, sir.
I drove completely into the ditch last week with a comment about Indians instead of Native Americans, so I'm just going to go all in. I haven't quite got myself towed out. The only person that I hear really bellowing about Kanye is Maxine Waters, and she's nuttier than a fruitcake. So isn't that kind of the pot calling the kettle black? If not to.
Oh, we are really politically
I'm in the
incorrect.
ditch. I'm in the ditch. I'm going to stay in the ditch until maybe people leave Kanye and Roseanne alone. I kind of like them. We're Americans. We can say what we want. We shouldn't be shamed or shunned for having an opinion.
I think, Lisa,
right, but then we have, let me just say, Tim, then we have Phil Robertson, Sylvester Stallone, Kirk Cameron, John Voight, Drew Carey, Pat Sajak, the aging rocker group, Alice Cooper, Ted Nugent, Meatloaf. I mean, does it seem to be? Are the renegades growing?
I would say that the fact of the renegades, you're always going to get a few renegades here or there. But again, everyone you just listed is white. The fact that Kanye West is black will, I think, at a minimum, lead to, ordinary rank and file black people saying, well, he said this, maybe I ought to take a look again at what the Democrats have done. Because if they look closely and they see all the cities that have been ruined by Democratic administrations, all the promises made to eliminate poverty, which hasn't been done, the dependency that was caused by white liberal policies that destroyed urban areas, maybe it will cause more black people to just think before they automatically pull the lever for the Democratic Party, believing, because of what Democrats have said for years, that if you're a Republican, you're automatically a racist. If it simply causes rank and file black voters to rethink that, then Kanye West will have performed a great service for not just minorities, but for the majority of the American people.
Agree.
All righty. Since we've insulted every group we can think of, who wants the last word?
Well, I did want to add that, Sarah, you may not know this, but, with regard to the Native American Indian thing, you should know, because Lisa and I have worked with Native Americans, Indians, rather closely in the past. They call themselves Indians, just Correct. So you know.
Well, they also refer to themselves as the Dene, the people, and they've never, Native American is what white people assign to them. So I don't feel so bad about
we
that.
Started off,
That's right.
Yeah, we started off with Hollywood and we ended with Native Americans. We're about out of time. And speaking of time, for the days when you're on the go, Liberty Nation's new audio feature now makes it possible to listen to our articles in the Listen to the News section of libertynation.com. Simply click on Play SoundCloud, or I personally prefer Play in Browser, for fully narrated versions of our stories. I actually have a friend who plays our narrated stories every morning on her Alexa. So give it a try and let us know what you think. For Graham, Tim, Sarah, I'm Lisa K. Donner. Thanks for joining us for another edition of LN's Roundtable, brought to you by libertynation.com, where truth is making a comeback.
Liberty Nation. News and commentary, minus the propaganda. libertynation.com